All right, welcome back, everybody, to Squid Talk, a.k.a. the Him Podcast, a.k.a. the podcast where we talk about all avenues of life, but mainly regarding successful young individuals. I'm your host, Lucas Pachter.
I'm your host, CJ Tim.
And I'm TJR Trades, or Tyler.
So I guess I'll first start it off with who Tyler is, how I met him, why he's here, and why you guys should listen to him, right? So if you saw the first episode, you know that this podcast is somewhat relaxed, somewhat fun, but we really want to dive into who our guests are, who we are as individuals, what we're doing with our lives, and hopefully teach the audience something, as well as learn ourselves about each other and whatever guests we have on. But once again, this is Tyler Riches. I actually met Tyler through social media. He pretty much DM'd me. We connected, and at first it was just like a friendly, hey, what's up? Then he happened to be in Cabo over the same time that I was in Cabo for spring break. And I met him in real life, obviously, and I was like, oh, wait, this guy's actually dope. You know, when you meet people on the internet, like, it's hard to get a read for who they actually are. And I didn't know if, Tyler was actually a cool guy in real life, but I met him in Cabo. Dude was a stud. And then we ended up going to Coachella together with some boys. And, I ended up learning more about him, who he is. He's a day trader. He's very successful. And so we thought he'd be the perfect guest to have on for one of our episodes because he's pretty much embodies the idea of a young, successful individual. He didn't go to college, or he dropped out of college, actually, because he was doing so well with trading. So he's young. He's essentially made it already, but he's just getting started. And so, we're looking forward to CJ and I at least getting to know him a little bit more. But do you want to introduce yourself, Tyler?
Yeah, sure. I'll just do like a quick little overview of like who I am, what I've done so far. So as Lucas said, I'm a day trader. And that's like pretty much it. In high school, I was super focused. It was mainly for sports. I was really focused on football and basketball. Those were like my only hobbies. And I never really like partied or went out or like did the high school type of thing. I was just like really focused. I don't know why. It's just like how my brain was wired. And then as like high school was like, coming to an end, I was like, all right, I got to figure out what I want to do because it's not going to be sports anymore. And I was already like into the trading stuff. Got pretty good at it by senior year. I was making decent money. And then from there, I was just like focused completely on trading, kind of dropped school completely. I never went to like any college classes besides when I had to take a final or a midterm. And I was just trading the entire time, just focused on myself and making money because I never wanted to have a boss.
Yeah, so people actually asked, last podcast actually asked us, but so why did you choose to drop out of school instead of either continuing it and finishing? And what was kind of your thinking behind that? And yeah.
Okay, yeah. I never saw any value in school because I always wanted to start like just like my own thing. I hated having a boss. I hate when people tell me what to do. If anybody tries to tell me what to do, especially like forcefully, I'll do the opposite, even if it's a good or a bad thing. So I just never wanted a boss. And my thought is like, you go through college and then it's like, all right, it's going to spit you right out into having a boss. You got to work your way up the ladder. And I knew I did not want to be at the bottom of the ladder. I wanted to be at the top right at the start. So that was kind of my thought process. And then in terms of like dropping out, there are jobs that like you need a degree, right? If you really want to be a doctor, there's no other way to do it. But for me, it just made sense because like I was going to start my own thing anyways. Like college isn't really going to help me with that.
Totally.
Good question, good answer. Well, I have a question because so CJ's a trader. If you guys watched the last one, you know that. Tyler's a trader. They're both very successful. I tried trading for 3 years. I lost a lot of money. And then one day I was like, you know what? I hate quitting. I hate giving up. And there's nothing that pains me more because all three of us have a mindset of like, if someone could do it, then I can do it. But eventually I had to like kind of give it up and be like, all right, it's not what I'm good at. Focus on what I am good at, which is business and talking and entertaining and stuff. And so I do have a question. Obviously, you're very successful now. I just want to first ask this question. You don't have to answer it. You could give a general estimate if you want. But I'm sure a lot of people are like, okay, well, how successful is this guy? Roughly about how much do you think you've made your entire career in profits in trading, both from Forex and from, stocks and crypto?
8 figures. Yeah.
8 figures.
Yeah.
That's over $10 million if you're a kid
Sheesh.
and you're watching. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Hit that by 20 too. I just turned
that's
21.
fucking,
So.
that's fucking
yeah.
nuts. And he actually so he grew up in Utah, lived in Utah for a bit.
Grew up in the Bay Area.
Oh, you grew up in the Bay Area.
Yeah, I do.
But
I don't claim Utah.
okay, but recently was in Utah.
Yes.
And he just recently bought a $2 million house in Puerto Rico because he was paying millions of dollars in taxes in the U.S. And if you're a trader, they rob you. But I guess what my question is, or my second question is, what was that process like? You know, did you start trading and you immediately were like, okay, this is something I'm good at. This is something I can make a lot of money doing, and you just knew this is where you were going to go? Or did you kind of start and you were like, you know what, I'm just going to do this until I'm good? What was that process like?
Yeah, so I actually started in crypto, made a solid amount of money from that, and it was kind of just blindly just putting money in, and I made a bunch of money, and I was like, okay, I want to learn more about this. So I started learning about crypto to start off, and then I was kind of addicted. Because I made a bunch of money. I was like, I want to do it again and again, and I want to do this every single day. Then I learned about day trading just by looking into just YouTube videos, and then next thing I know, I can trade Bitcoin every single day. Like, what? I can make this amount of money every single day. So that's what got me into it, and you'll learn really quick if you ever want to become a day trader. You are not going to get rich quick. It's going to take years. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen in a month, and you're definitely not going to make 100K in a week. It's going to take years of time, and most people can't do it. There's a statistic that say 98% of traders fail. It's not that they fail, they give up or they run out of money. So, yeah.
I was one of those. I'm one of that 98.
Yeah.
And to add up on that, I see your TikTok videos you'll make made 30K this week. What a lot of people don't realize also is that it took you years to have the capital to be able to make 30K. You can't just come in with $1,000 and think you're gonna just make that with your first trade. You're probably gonna lose it all, honestly.
Yeah. So I want to talk about that because when all you guys starting, right, you probably don't have a lot of capital. When I started, I was in the same situation as you. I was starting with a couple $100s in an account, a couple $1,000. And every single time I would blow it because I wanted to get to that big capital. And then from there, I was like, okay, cool. I'll start risking the amount that I should be risking, which is 1 to 3% of your whole account per trade. But at the time, I was risking my whole account because I'm I'm not making any money. What's the point of me making a couple cents per trade or a couple dollars if it's not even going to pay me out that much? So that's where a lot of people mess up. It's they don't focus on the discipline. They're focused on getting the money first. And what I like to tell people and tell my students, I always say, focus on learning the skill, because once you have the skill, it's just due time for you to get the money, right? If you know how to read the markets and if you know how to trade, and if you can do it consistently, dude, that money's going to come eventually, right? And it just takes time. People get into trading and they're like, oh yeah, I'll get rich in a month. Who's going to get rich in a month? Why don't you say, okay, I want to get rich in 5 years?
I want to get good first. And
exactly.
Then I think CJ hit it right on the head, because there was this famous, I think it was Picasso, but there was an artist who was in a cafe, and this old lady goes up to him and she was like, can you draw me a picture? And he drew a picture for her on a napkin. And she said, okay, how much? And he goes, $1,000. Or no, maybe he said $5,000, something crazy like that. And she goes, you just did that. You're charging me $1,000 for something that took you 5 minutes? And he was like, no, I'm charging $1,000 for something that took me 30 years. So, a lot of people, because that's going to be my next question, is what was your biggest gain from a single trade in a day, and then your loss? But, whatever his answer is, some people might see that and they'll be like, holy shit, he made, this many thousands of dollars in a single day or in a 15-minute period or an hour period. No, he made that much money over the course of the last 5 years or whatever it's been since he started. It's, he's just getting better and better and better skill-wise. But, yeah, that's my question. What is the most you've made in a day? What's the most you've lost in a day? And what was that like mentally, emotionally? Yeah, what did that feel like?
Okay, so I'll give you 2 answers for this because what I did this challenge where I gave myself $5,000 for the month, and this was back in 2018, and I was like, okay, how much can I turn this $5,000 into in a month? And I turned it into 600K. So the trades that I was taking on those were obviously over leverage, risking my whole portfolio. So the most I made during that time, which I don't recommend you do, which is like risking your whole account, I made 220K on like the last trade. And then at the same time, I lost 150K on a trade doing that same challenge, just over leveraging. And for me, I wasn't emotionally attached to that money because it started as 5K and I was like, whatever, I'm so deep in profit. And I was doing this like for fun as a challenge anyways. And I actually posted 2 TikTok videos about this, posting like every single trade and the profit and the withdrawals from this account. But both videos got taken down, and it actually caused my alt TikTok account to get permanently banned. So I don't know how I'm supposed to show that anymore, but it was on the internet at some point in time, if you want to check that out. But then the second answer for like proper risk on a trade was around like $80,000. Which was like just a super good risk to reward ratio. And then biggest loss on like proper risk was around like 50K.
Well, what did that feel like? Because I'm assuming like, because I did it for a while. I know that when I made a win, it felt great for like a couple minutes. But when I had a loss, my entire day was ruined. You know, so what is that like mentally? You know, because I'm sure you get used to the wins, but you never get used to the losses, I feel like. Or maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah. So this is where I feel like this is why you might not be that good at trading.
I'm greedy, first of all. So this is why I gave up. I'm not good. It's not my thing. I'll stick to business and shit.
So like the biggest thing in trading, most people say like, 90% of trading is psychology. And that's like the mental, being able to be disciplined enough to be able to take a loss and walk away from it, and being able to not revenge trade or not over trade or like over leverage. So I at this point, like when I lose, I'm like, I know that I've been doing this for so long that it's like that loss is nothing to me, because I'm looking at it in the grand scheme of things. Like I know on the year I'm going to be super profitable. I know on the month I'll probably be profitable. Even if I have 2 losing months, right? That means I still have 10 other months that are winners, right? And that's what a lot of people don't understand with trading. They think about it in like the day to day. Like who cares if last Friday, I lost $17,000 on one trade, and I didn't care because, right, I made like $31,000 this morning, right? Like my winners eat my losers, so I'm not concerned about a loss.
And I think also like for emotions in trading, I think conviction's a big part in your trades. Like really you have to remove emotions completely from trading. It has nothing to do
100%.
with emotions. And like even the number values as your portfolio gets bigger, like they are gonna be bigger, but at the end of the day, it's the same trades. Like if you have conviction in a trade and it plays out, it's because you had conviction in it. If it didn't play out, well, you had conviction, you were wrong, you took the loss. That's it.
Yeah. Like when I talk to beginners, this goes back to about like learning the skill. I always make sure like they're calculating their profitability, not on dollar terms, because that'll get skewed super easily. Like they see everybody on the internet making thousands of dollars and they think that should be them. It shouldn't. They should do it based off percentages, because if they have $100 account and they make $1, that's a 1% gain. Versus for me, that's going to be, like a couple $1,000s. And, they see $1 versus a couple $1,000s. They're like, I'm not doing something right. I need to change something. And it's like, no, like just put it into perspective. We're working with like just crazy different capital and like account sizes.
Yeah. So like I've had multiple different mentors trading, and the cool thing about Tyler is he doesn't really try and sell himself. Like he's really honest. You see, if you're watching trading YouTube videos, you'll always get an ad at the beginning of the video, and it'll be some douchebag holding out a stack of 10 grand cash, and he'll be like, I can give you this cash, or I can teach you how to make this in a week. It's not like that. And this morning, one of my other roommates was asking Tyler, like, yo, should I get into this? This looks really cool. And Tyler straight up was like, no, he shouldn't. Like, because 98% of people will lose. So he's very honest with his winners, with his losers, and just overall with, like, the whole aspect of trading as a whole, which is why I respect the guy a lot. So I think that's really cool. I just want to point that out real quick.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yeah, like my biggest thing is like just being open and honest about it, because when I wasn't profitable, I was seeing all those people that you described on YouTube saying, yo, like this is how I made $10,000 a day. I never saw a single loss from any of those guys. I thought you were supposed to be perfect. I thought you were supposed to be flawless in the market. Mm-hmm. And then, like as time went on, I was like, okay, well, losing's actually a part of the market, but nobody shows that. So then once I actually made it, and then like 2 years later, started social media, I was like, okay, let me like actually teach people. Like, let me not sell something. Like I do sell like my Discord and stuff, but let me actually show these kids how to actually trade. And that's why all of my free content, that's all you need. So like if anybody actually wants to pay me, it's for, again, the years of work that I put in, because the only thing that you're paying for when you pay for my Discord is to trade with me live over Zoom. So it's like you're taking the trades that I'm taking, you know, like the trades that make me, you know, hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars, you know? So it's like, that's pretty valuable. You should be paying for that. And I could honestly charge thousands of dollars for it a month if I wanted to.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's the same thing with me. Like, I'm not posting as much, but I post life lessons and advice every single day, whether it's about life advice, girl advice, business advice, whatever. And I'm not, you know, the perfect guy. I don't know the answer to every question, but I just talk about stories and shit that I've learned. And I also have the option, like, if someone wants to buy my time, you know, I charge, I think right now it's not even that many people do it because I don't advertise it, but I charge $100 if you want to talk to me for 30 minutes. And that's because I'm busy. And if I'm going to talk to someone, like, I want to be getting paid for it. But I don't, like, go out there and say you should pay me or you should do this. Everything you need to learn, everything I've ever gone through is available on, like, my TikTok and YouTube and Instagram and shit. So, you know, some people will like see that you're selling your time or something or a course or whatever. You don't have to buy that. You can still learn just as much from the free stuff. That's just a more like private version, I guess you could say. So
yeah, that's like exactly why I started YouTube, because when I was learning, you literally had to buy a course for everything to be put in one spot. Yes, you could find all the videos that you needed for like all those tools, but it took a while, right? And the quickest way to do it was just spend 1.5K on some dude's course, and then it's like, okay, this is all still super general, it's nothing special, but it's all in one spot, so I guess I got what I paid for. But I'm doing that for free. So
100%.
You know.
Definitely.
Well, do you have any more questions about trading? Or
Yeah, I actually did. So I want to get into like the trading aspect more. So I think everyone has their edge. Okay, Lucas's edge is, you know, doing his clothing brand. Mine in crypto is like information asymmetry, like getting stuff really quick, really fast. Mm-hmm. For you, when you trade, what is kind of your edge? Like what do you use to actually trade? Like,
okay,
is it your experience? What is, you know?
Yeah. So I trade something called smart money concepts. So the traders will probably know what I'm talking about. This might sound like a foreign language to you guys, but I take trades based off of just purely the candlestick charts, because you can see where liquidity lies within the market, where market makers will want to push the market in order to induce liquidity and then be able to fill their orders to actually move the market, right? Because they're the market movers. So like the way that I like to explain it, you know, in like your regular ass like econ class, your teacher will say like, what's a stock exchange? Someone buys a stock and someone has to sell them that stock. The same thing happens when the market makers want to actually move the market, right? They have to fill millions of orders. So how are they going to get millions of people to either sell or enter the opposite direction as them, right? They have to fake them out. They have to induce liquidity. And then what happens? Those 98% of traders fail. They lose. They hit stop loss, and market moves in wherever the market makers want to go.
Yeah.
So that's how I trade. It's kind of like reverse psychology. You can, like, if you watch my videos, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. If you just look on a chart, it's really easy to spot where the fake outs happen and, you know, where the market's manipulated.
I mean, markets are always manipulated to an extent. I mean, the market makers are always making money, whether it's, you know, being delta neutral and trading both ways, or just like, you know, hitting people's liquidations and then just going back up or something. Like they always know what's going on. So that's a good point. So if you just ride that wave, kind of, you can find little gaps in between.
Yeah. So I kind of I scalp the S&P 500, and then I do more like sort of, it's still intraday trades on Forex. I just recently got back into Forex. So I started my first year and a half my first 3.5 years just trading Forex. The first year and a half of profitability, I was trading Great British Pound against the Japanese yen. And then I just recently, like a year and a half ago, switched over to indexes, and I'm now getting back into Forex. And the trade this morning was actually a Forex trade. And yeah, it's still like similar thought processes, but with Forex, it's a 24/5 market, right? So the stock market is only open from 9 to 5 Eastern time, versus Forex, there's New York session, Asian session, and London session. So in college, when I was a freshman and a sophomore, I had zero social life because I was trading London session when Great British Pound and Japanese yen were like the most active and most volatile. So I was asleep during the day and I would be awake at night just trading London sessions. So
I mean, tell me about it, man. Crypto is 24/7 also. Marcus Stone goes with that. So, and I actually had one more question. So, how would you say your life has changed now that you have money? What hasn't? What were you expecting?
I was about to ask that question. That's
oh, really?
good.
Okay, yeah.
100%.
Dude, life is just it's just so relaxing just being able to, like, you'll understand it when you get there, and I'm sure if you're watching this podcast, you guys are a bunch of studs, you'll get there eventually. But dude, just being able to walk into like, or just being able to swipe your card and like not even look at the price. Like someone will ask me like how much I paid for something, and I'm like, dude, I don't even know.
Money
like
is fake.
It is. It's just a number at this point, and it's like yeah, no, that's a great question. I'm just free. I can do what I want when I want to. And it's just way more enjoyable. I can focus on things that I actually love. And I feel like that's a huge problem in the world that we have today. Everyone is so like upset and so just like in a bad mood 24/7. Why? Because of money. Because they got to go to work. They got things to deal with. They got like kids to feed. And when money isn't a problem, life is just like better and happier.
The fucked up part is like some people will hear that. Most of the people that are probably watching this podcast don't have that mindset, which is great. It's a victim mindset in my mind. But some people will hear that and they'll just like think of you as an enemy. And it's really not fair to you, and it's really just doing you a disservice if you think that way, because like, you know, he's out here on this podcast, he's making YouTube videos, like trying to like teach people, trying to help people, being very honest, being, you know, making himself vulnerable, right, to criticism for nothing, for free, right, or just to help people learn. And some people are gonna like hear stuff like that, and they're gonna be like, well, fuck this guy, right? He's you know, they're gonna be mad, they're gonna be envious. But you didn't have any handouts, right? Like you did this all on your own. He didn't have any help from his parents. His parents actually were like very, because I asked him about his story. His parents were very disapproving at first, right? So, you know, he like really made it on his own, and he's reaping the benefits, the fruits of his labor, and he deserves it, you know? But like, so we went to Coachella 2 weeks ago, very generously, pretty much treated the whole thing. And right before we went to Coachella, went on like a shopping spree, and it was crazy because I'm not rich yet, you know, like I can't wait till I am. But all my money and stuff is going back into my business right now. But it was crazy. Just like we went to like fucking six, 7 different stores, you know, everything from like Prada to David Yurman. He's just buying chains left and right, bags left and right, clothes left and right. And I was like, damn, that's fucking lit. And yeah, I could totally tell that. You know, when I buy something nice, I have to like check my bank account. I'm like, okay, can I afford this? He was just like, yeah, that's cool. I want that. I'm gonna have that. I'm gonna get that. You know. So I can imagine that's like it's a very good feeling. So I'm glad you get to experience that, dude, because you worked hard for it. So that's awesome.
Yeah, no, that's another thing. It's like, dude, people do not see the behind the scenes. It's actually crazy. Like when I got onto social media, and you know, just like started posting about like what I was doing, it's almost like people think like I just started doing this. It's like, no, dude, like I went through hell. Like those 2 years of unprofitability, like I heard you kind of talk about like mental health stuff. I had like severe, like super bad mental health issues and still suffer with it a little bit. Like pretty much every single one of my mom's brothers either has super bad bipolar disorder or depression. And I've had several family members who've lost their lives due to depression. So that was something, dude, like I was in a terrible place. And it sounds stupid to talk about it now, but like it was almost like the Goggins type of thing where he's like, you really got to put yourself in the worst position possible where you literally just have to survive. There was a point where I had negative $2,000 in my bank account, and the bank was charging me an extra $100 every single day that negative balance was on my bank account. So I DoorDashed for literally 2 days straight. I think I got like 3 hours of sleep. And
Just to get out of that debt. That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, it was terrible. And that was like a super low point in my life.
No social life, no fucking partying. All these kids out here in college, you're like partying their ass off, skipping class, all this shit, and like he was grinding while everyone else was doing that. So he deserves it once again.
It's the sacrifice that nobody really sees.
Dude,
they see the success now, but they don't see the days
like they see what I'm doing now. Like I'm going on a trip like every single weekend. I haven't been in Utah like I've probably spent a week in Utah over the past 3 months just because I've been on trips, and people are seeing that and they're like, this is the trading lifestyle. Like I can't wait. Like I'm gonna go on a trip and just get like hammered with my boys and then take a trade. It's like, dude, no, like. That's not how this works,
basically,
dude.
yeah.
Like that. Like you have to actually know what you're like. You have to be successful to get there, and like
to earn that right.
Yeah, it's like I feel like people just have a misconception because I'm young and they see me doing this, and it's like, dude, come on, like focus, like please, like I want you to get here, but like you got to do the right things.
Yeah. Well, also another big thing, and this is like so hard because like when you're a kid, all you want is the attention, the approval, and that saying, I'm proud of you from your parents, right? That's all that matters when you're a kid. And I don't know how deep you want to get into this, but, you kind of told me a little bit that your parents, once again, weren't the most is, probably a little stretched, but weren't the most approving of you doing this at first. Yeah. Most people would give up there. So what kind of advice do you have or lessons that you can share on your experience kind of, being told over and over, like, don't go down this path. You did it anyway, and it worked out.
Yeah. So I can give like a little bit of backstory on that. So my great-grandparents started a private school in California that my parents now run, or my dad now runs, and pretty much the whole board of directors is my family. So
big school guys.
School, yeah, they love school. Massive school people. So you can imagine what they were thinking when I said I didn't want to go the typical route of going through college, getting a 9-to-5. They didn't like that. And dude, it was really hard. So I wanted to get into it, and I was getting into it. And I think that at first they weren't super opposed to it because they were like, whatever, he's enjoying this. It's like a little fad and it'll fade away. And then it didn't. And I was like, obviously sucked at trading and I was losing a lot of money. So they were like, what are you doing? This is this isn't smart. You need to actually start like focusing, and
get a job.
Yeah, exactly. And me, again, like I said, whenever someone tells me to do something, I'll do the opposite. So what did I do? Literally just went full force into it. I had, I posted a TikTok about this. I have this trading journal where I literally wrote down like, I will be, or like I would write like, I am a millionaire trader. I am a millionaire. I am rich. I have all of this stuff. And pretty much every single thing that I put in that, I'm getting goosebumps talking about this.
Oh, yeah. Literally crazy.
Every single thing that I like literally cried in my bed when I went back home to the Bay Area looking at that thing, because every single thing I either completed it or 2x or 5 times what I said I was going to do. And that was like 3 or 4 years ago.
And that's the biggest thing nowadays is
write
it down. It's like people say they want something in life and then just scroll the next TikTok and then just forget about it. It's like, no, like if you want something, you need it. It's not like, it's like, I am going to get this. Like there's no other way.
I literally would just like be in the shower, and before I would take I would wake up at like 4:30 in the morning, and I would take a shower and I would just close my eyes and I would just say it over and over again, just like say what I wanted to be, say what I wanted to do, and here we are, things.
Oh, yeah.
That's
really
such
off.
dude. It's crazy, like what a positive. Let me come closer. It's crazy what a positive mindset can do, and that's once again why I think the whole victim mindset is just. It's only setting you back in life. Number one, because no one will want to help you. But when you think like that, when you write down your goals, when you think in your mind like I am gonna do this, I am gonna have that, I am gonna be this person. You start to tell yourself that every single day, and it happens. And we talked about this a little bit, CJ, and on the last podcast, but like when I was a little kid, I was a fucking loser. I had no friends, no girls liked me. I was suicidal. Like I was bullied by everyone. Like I hated my life. It just sucked. And don't want to like repeat the last stuff too much from the last podcast, but I got very close to ending it all. I got very close to, fucking killing myself. And then one day I looked in the mirror and I was like, do I really want to kill myself, or like, do I want to kill the current version of myself? Because I don't like who I see in the mirror. But if I did look in the mirror and I saw the person I wanted to be, maybe like my own version of my own hero, would I still have these thoughts about myself? And the answer was obviously no. And so at that point, you really need to be like, okay, well then I'm going to become that person. And it's a really fun journey doing that. And then when you can look back and tell yourself like, I did it, and I'm happy where I am today, and I work towards this person that I am, and I love this person that I am. It's a very great feeling, and it gives you like just a disgusting amount of confidence. Like that's why I'm so fucking cocky these days. But so I just wanted to kind of add that in because a lot of people might be stuck in that deep hole. But the deeper the hole you are in, the bigger the climb, and the bigger the climb, the better the view. So
I can touch on that. Yeah. So speaking of mental health, I actually attempted several times, and yeah, I made it out apparently for a reason. And yeah, dude, if I would like say anything about like mental health, again, like you hit it like right on the head. Like, yes, I still suffer with that. Like it's probably never going to leave me. Like some days you just have a bad day, but it's definitely a lot less than it was in the past. Give yourself some sort of motivation. Give yourself a reason to live. Like there's people who don't get the chances that you get to even just be alive. And I'm sure, they would do anything to, be in your position. Like if you
100%.
are like healthy, if you have a roof over your head, you are very privileged. And don't take that for granted. It's a huge thing. And I feel like for me, I was fat, just like you. I was short, not as tall as I am now. And yeah, I was just super lost. I knew I didn't want to like have a regular job, and I just had no clue what I wanted to do. And then it got to the point where I wasn't crying and like depressed because I hated myself. I was crying and depressed because I was so motivated, because I wanted to get to the point that I'm at now. And it was like, I just need to do this. And that honestly helped my mental health a lot, was just having a reason, like just, like have a goal, set yourself a super long-term goal, and don't stop until you get there.
You should be like waking up every day being like, hey, I'm excited to do this today. Not like, oh man, like I have to do this. Or
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
that's why it is a privilege to be alive, tattooed right on my arm.
Show it off.
I'm sure that when my dad sees this, he's not going to be too happy, but who cares? But yeah, honestly, all good lessons like all around the board. I just think so many people take the easy route in life, and like you can just be like simple and average and stuff. But it's not as fun. It's not as fun. And in order to have that fun, you need to put yourself in situations where you're really going to struggle. And that's what we're all trying to do. I know that these guys, they already are very successful, right? CJ's already made 7 figures. He's made 8 figures. I've made, maybe like 5, maybe a little more, but it's all going back into my business. But I know one day I'll be there. But yeah, it's, it's like, it's, you have to see that ultimate goal, that ultimate version of yourself, that ultimate life you want. And you just have to be happy knowing that like, I am going to get that eventually. If I just keep taking these little steps and I don't look at the top of the mountain, but if I just keep taking little steps and I look at my feet, before long, I will be there. And then when you look up, you'll see that view and you'll be like, oh wait, it happened that fast. But the longer and the more that you just think about, I'm not there yet, it's going to take longer and it's going to be slower. But,
That's really funny that you say that, because for me now, I still feel like the same exact person that I was several years ago, but now like I have everything and like, the stuff that I dreamed about, but I still feel the exact, like I'm the same person. And that's like cool that you said that. Like I always preach like, just get like 1% better every single day. And like sooner or later you're going to get there. Yeah, like I feel no different than where I was like 3 years ago, just turning profitable in trading. Where I'm at now, it's like I still want to get better. I still want to do things. I already hit my goal. I'm a professional day trader now. Now it's like, what's next? What do I have planned next? If there's no like,
well, yeah, what is next?
okay,
or unless CJ,
yeah.
you go ahead.
So yeah, actually, a question about that. for you right now, is it more of the motivation that drives you, or is there like a number where if you were to hit it, you would quit? I'm curious about this.
There's no such thing as a number. I'm pretty sure every single like super rich person would say that like, you know, unless you're old, like most people, like, I'm 21, right? Most people don't even have a job, like a full-time job when they're my age. And it's like I was telling you earlier, like off the pod, like I finish my work day at around like 9, and then I go to the gym, and then I have nothing else to do with my day. So that's kind of why I started social media. I was super bored, and I was like, whatever, I'll just do this. It'll be fun.
As well, yeah.
Yeah. So now for me, like what's next is just like, I want to start businesses, sort of focus around trading. Who really knows so far? Right now, my main focus is just like social media, because right now it's a hobby. Day trading was a hobby at the time. Now it's my job, and jobs aren't fun. So now I'm, you know, more focused on what's fun. And I got the day trading thing taken care of. It's like robotic in the morning. I do it, get on with my day, and then I can have fun doing the social media stuff.
Wait, so you don't have fun training anymore, or it's more of a job for you?
It's
Okay,
such a
'cause-
Really?
job.
Oh
It's
shit! I didn't know
so
that.
boring,
I
bro.
thought
It's
you'd wake up
terrible.
every day.
No, I wake up and dude, I wake
You're
up
like,
and I
"Oh,
roll
you're
out
way-
of bed.
This is my picture in my mind. Wakes up. Oh, I gotta go make $30,000 today. Fuck. Whatever.
In 2 hours, my life is so hard.
No, but I totally get that. I mean, it's probably become so mundane for you. It's crazy to think about that from someone who can't do that, hasn't done that, probably won't ever do that. But yeah, I totally like. I get how that could be. It would get old. I think it's the same thing with any hobby. Like I know, you know, me with working out and fitness. Like when I was skinny, and when I didn't look good, you know, I was excited to go to the gym every day because I was working towards a goal. I'm not at like my peak physique or anything right now, but I'm very happy with how I look. And some days I'm just like, I really don't want to go to the gym today, but I've been doing it so long. It's so part of my habit that I'm going to anyway, because I know it's good for me. I know I should. I know that if I don't, I'm going to feel like a fucking loser. But I think that's interesting how you mentioned that. I think it gives you a little perspective.
No, it is really funny because again, like when I was talking to you and like CJ probably can touch on this too about like a gambling mindset when it comes to trading. Some people, you know, like again, we were saying they try to get rich quick. And when you're only risking 1 to 3% of your account, even if it's like a big number that I'm working with, right? It's all in perspective. It's all like in percentages, right? That's not too much money. That sounds so cocky, but that's not that much money to me. So like when it happens, it's like, whatever, I have to be emotionless when it happens. And it's not like, oh my God, like I can't wait to close this trade and withdraw it. And it's like, it's not supposed to be like that. You're supposed to be emotionless. When you lose, you shouldn't care. When you win, you know, if you win big, then it's like, okay, maybe you can reward yourself, but you shouldn't be jumping around, running around the house like you won the lottery, because then it's like you did something
then it
wrong.
seems rare.
Yeah, because you actually did something wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing, like if I had to give people advice for day trading, well, I mean, I don't really day trade. Sometimes I do it more like a weekly, like monthly type of trader, but is risk management. You can't go wrong. That's one thing I learned last cycle. I lost a lot of money from the 2018 cycle, and then I did better the 2020 cycle. But like risk management is everything, because then you can make any single, like I can have all my positions open and fall asleep and I'll be okay because I've risk managed and have money set aside that's not even in the trade, and these trades only consist of like 5% of my account, or like just that kind of stuff. So I think that's definitely a big lesson to learn. And one thing actually is different than me is I've never lost my passion for crypto really. But for me, I got into crypto because like my PayPal account got frozen because I was under 18. And then I just got into I'm like a big computer nerd, that kind of stuff. But I don't even think about it in terms of money at this point, honestly. It's really the dopamine for me when I trade. It's literally like I'm a hamster, and like the dopamine for me is the biggest part. Like the money is just, it's there. The money numbers go up the bigger my portfolio gets, but like.
See, you're doing this professionally, so I can't, hate on that. But I would honestly say, like, if that was any other trader, I would say that's not a good thing if you're chasing like that dopamine. But that's just like from my thought process, like, because I know when I was early, like I was trading off of dopamine. I was like, oh, I could make, like when I was starting, I could make like $200 from this trade, and I was super excited about it. And that's what caused me to when I lost that trade, obviously, because I sucked at it.
Yeah.
To revenge trade, and then I'd end up blowing my whole account.
No, never revenge trade. I'm not saying revenge
Yeah,
trade.
yeah, yeah.
I don't
No,
get bored and then
yeah,
trade
yeah,
because
it's
I have.
winning. It
But
feels
it's
good to win, though.
exactly
I get
like
that.
what I was trying to say is like when I make a trade and like I'll win a trade or lose a trade, it's not like the money is like it's because
like
I
the
have such
satisfaction.
I have such the conviction, and when I trade, like when I do trade it, I have such high conviction that I'm trading this because of this thesis. I'll write a research paper on it sometimes. Like it's
Whoa,
almost like
that's
personal
serious.
to me in a way. But I have
Okay.
I have losses like stop losses, that kind of stuff. So if I lose, I lose. But
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't know
it
why.
is, it is interesting how sometimes it just gets not old, but you get like more and more used to the average, kind of like you were saying. I know like when I first started my business, when I had my first drop, my first drop, I think I did $8,000 the first day. I was stoked. I was like, no way, I just made $8,000 selling clothes, right? That was dope. And then it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I was no longer satisfied with that. Now it's like if I have a drop and I don't make 40,000 in the first week after that, or like 20, 30,000, something like that, I'll be like, even though that's still like great, but that's what's interesting about business is like you want to scale so much. I think it's so fascinating to me how in business at least, and honestly in most whether it's an entrepreneurial endeavor or any sort of hustle, like you always want more. Like it just gets boring. Even if you are making $50,000 constantly a day, which is insane. That's a fuck ton of money. That's ridiculous. You still want to be getting a little better every single day. It's weird how humans have this, innate need to keep on growing, or at least people who want to do well. I think if you have that mindset, no matter what, you're going to succeed. But, for me, it's gotten to the point where like, I'm not making as much money with you guys because all my money is going back into the business once again. But when I do a drop and it goes really well, I'm not even like, I'm like happy for a minute or two. And then I'm like, okay, well, let's start planning for, like let's say, cause I'm about to do a whole restock for everything. Right. Of a couple pairs of shorts that were like really sold out. And then we're going to add some new stuff soon. I'm expecting that to go really well. And if it does go really well, I expected that. I won't even be that happy. If it doesn't go really well, I'll be a little bit like, okay, well, now we have to go back and fix the kinks and see what we did wrong. But if it does go well, I'm already like, okay, now let's plan for June. You know what I mean? And then June will come by and I'll be like, okay, now let's plan for July, right? So I think it's just understanding that like you always need to get better. You always need to be trying more. There is no... This kind of ties back into what you were saying earlier, number, goal, or, end destination. I think when you're an entrepreneur or anyone who just has that drive and hustle that us three have, and probably a lot of people watching can relate to this, there is no finale. It's like this endless cycle of getting better and better and better, and there won't ever come a time when you're enough. It's like this deep insecurity that you'll never be enough, but it doesn't have to be a bad thing. It's a good thing because it keeps you going. And as long as you can understand that and recognize that, then you'll be happy. Like I think we're all very, happy and fulfilled individuals, even though we know that we can go much farther and get, further ahead.
I think that the thing about like never being enough plays a lot into my like mental health situation, because like I see what I'm doing right now and I'm like what's next? Like what?
Yeah.
Literally today I was telling him, I was like, I finished my day so early and I'm just not satisfied with what I've been doing, even though like when most people would see what I'm doing and they're like, dude, you could retire right now.
How could you not be satisfied? That's probably what some people are thinking.
Yeah, no, it's really hard. It's got to be just like something in my head where it just doesn't click. Like I'll never be satisfied with myself, and that's honestly kind of a bad thing, but also a good thing. It means I'll be pretty successful. But also like I will never really be satisfied with myself, which kind of sucks, but you grow.
Well, I don't think money is the answer to happiness. I think money can buy you things to make you happier, but it's not like the answer to happiness. And whatever that is in your life, whatever passion it is, maybe you haven't found it yet. Maybe you are working on it. I think that will eventually one day, some people it's a family, or some people it's love. Some people it's just making an amount of money and then being able to retire and live their life. And one thing I will say, and you could probably agree on this, and you too also, is like when you had your first business drop and you made that $8,000, or you made your first like 6 figures trade, like that was when I in business or trading realized like I can never go back to working minimum wage 9 to 5 job, because
I would jump off a bridge.
Once I had that, which by the way, I think that there's nothing wrong with that. I think that you need to get the capital, but like once you get like a taste of that trading money, it's really hard to do anything else, because like it's just like it's like nothing you've ever experienced before, really. I mean,
yeah. So I'll talk about that. I when I was bad at trading, I had $10,000 because I was making a bunch of money from crypto, right? My like investments hit. I was doing great in crypto, but terrible in trading. I had $10,000 in a trading account, and I was over leveraging and over trading. Flipped it into $112,000 in 2 days. And then the next day, I lost all of it.
What leverage were you using? Like 100 times, like
that's
20 times?
Yeah. No,
just like max.
Yeah.
What did that feel like?
Yeah, so that actually caused me to stop trading for 3 months, and this is like what I was going to get into. So I stopped trading for 3 months, and then crypto started like getting going again, and I was like, okay, well, I'm good at this. Let me like whatever, like I'll stop trading, but I'll do the crypto stuff. And then I just got sucked back in, because I was like, okay, if I was able to turn $10,000 into $112K in 2 days, like I have to be able to, like, I've done it, so I can do it again just properly. And that was my whole mindset. And that was, once I lost that 112K, that's when I got my risk management on point. That was the best 6-figure loss I've
Probably
ever.
the best thing that could have happened to you,
Best thing that
honestly.
ever happened. If I stopped trading, if I didn't lose that amount of money, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at today. That's like probably one of my most popular stories, is me turning 10K into, like 112K, and then losing all of it, and then learning from it. And from that point, that's pretty much when I turned profitable, because I learned my lesson once and for all out. Because before then I was losing $100, like a couple $1,000, and it was like, whatever, that's like throwaway money. But then it's like, I just lost 6 figures, like, what are you doing? Like, get like on your shit and actually, like do it correctly. And like, you clearly sort of know what you're doing. You made all that money. So just like focus on it. And then, from there, I was like, all right, I'm going to be super disciplined. I'm not going to let my emotions play into it. And then from there, it was just only up.
Yeah, that's why I think a lot of people who want to get into trading, I think, it's good if you want to study, different courses or YouTube videos and learn how to trade. But some lessons in trading, like risk management, you can't truly learn until you've lost it all. Like, really, there's no other way to learn it.
So true. Yeah, I tell everyone, it's like, you won't use good risk management until you lose a certain amount of money that you can't handle losing, and that's when it'll all click for you, because
it'll hit. Yeah.
You'll put in like $100 into a trade and just be like, oh, this would be sick if it hits like 1,000, and then like, versus if you lose $10,000, you're going to be depressed for like a month, right?
Yeah.
And like, shit's really going to hit, right? Maybe you got to like work or something to like pay your rent.
So you've brought up use leverage in the past, and you still do when you trade.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for new people starting with leverage? Because obviously they see you using leverage in trading. A lot of them probably don't realize they're only using a sub portion of your account. Do you think newbies should use leverage to trade, or no?
Okay, so the type of leverage that I use is kind of different. So I don't do options or futures. I do it through a foreign exchange brokerage. And what they do is you choose the certain number leverage that your account is just off the bat. So when you open your account, I have it set to 500x leverage. And that probably sounds super, super crazy, but it's not. It's just giving me the potential buying power to use all of that 500x leverage. So when I'm entering a trade, I don't actually know how much leverage I'm using of that 500x leverage times like my account, because the whole account is already leveraged that. So that's why you need to use risk management, because if I don't have a stop loss on a trade and I, place just like a crazy loss size or like crazy contract size and it falls, I'm going to lose my whole account. But if I have a stop loss and I calculate risk, then having 500x leverage, it's not an issue, because I'm on, I know my risk. I know what I'm risking.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So it's different from like futures where like when you place a trade, you choose,
and you
like
just choose your leverage.
5x,
Exactly. Okay. I didn't know that, actually. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
I would say my advice for people like want to start crypto is probably try to stay spot until you're like 5 figures. And then maybe if you want to use like 5 to 10% of your portfolio in a sub account, maybe. But like honestly, I would try. I mean, crypto is so volatile that like you don't really need leverage. And
Yeah, no,
obviously,
I would
people
love to
trade
talk about
stocks
that.
and all kind of stuff. But like, I mean, and the meme coins that are popping off recently. I don't know if you want to talk about any of that. I know you said Safe Moon. You had some experience
Well,
with.
I kind of want to bring something up real quick before I get into meme coins. Leverage in general, this is something that so many people don't understand, like the average everyday person. Most really wealthy individuals, at least from what I've learned and what I've seen and who people I've talked to who have done it, they haven't made their money just off their money. It's off of leverage, whether it's in real estate or business. Like, leverage is such an important thing to understand because, like, let me give you an example. I have my business, right? I have, a certain amount of money in my business account that I can use for marketing, for, new inventory, for, payroll, whatever. If I use all it, like if I have to, buy a ton of inventory and it's, let's say I have $50,000 in the business account and I want to buy $25,000 worth of inventory. I won't just buy it. What I'll do is first I'll finance it through Shopify and they'll give me the money and I just have to pay them back plus a small interest loan, which I don't even have to pay back unless I actually sell the stuff. Like if I don't sell my stuff, they don't come knocking on my door ready to fucking break my kneecaps. Like I only pay that money back if I actually sell my stuff and I do well. So first I take a loan from Shopify, then I put it on a credit card. And then I go to my supplier and I say, hey, can I finance all this inventory? I say, I'm buying $25,000 worth of inventory. How about I pay you $10,000 right now? And I can only do this because I have a good business relationship with my suppliers. They know who I am. They trust me. I've done a lot of orders for them in the past. But I'll be like, can I place an order for $10,000 worth of inventory and then pay the other $15,000 to you in a month when it's ready or once it gets delivered to me? And they have no problem doing that because that allows me to place much bigger orders with them, which means they get more money. It means I get, essentially just I'm buying time for me to make that money back. Because if I was waiting until I had the money every single time, I had to do this when I started until I figured this out. But if I was using the money that I had in my account every single time to buy new stuff, my growth would be so slow. But when you can leverage all these different sources to essentially just buy time, that is how you really scale something. And it is a little bit risky, but if you can find ways to do it where it is very low risk, then, that's a risk you have to take, in my opinion. But, that's just something I wanted to throw in there because, people might hear that, and just think that about trading or whatever, but you can use that in business. You can use it in getting stuff from anybody else. Like I have a ton of followers on social media. I have a pair of really nice sunglasses over there. I didn't buy those. I DM'd the guy because I follow his account and I'm like, yo, I love your sunglasses. Can you send me a pair for free? And, I'll put them in one of my videos and throw your name in there. And he's like, yeah, that sounds like a great deal. You know what I mean? Yeah. So if you have something that people want, you can really leverage your resources to get farther.
Also remember that Lucas has already done a few drops. He didn't just first drop leverage his whole entire mortgage
Make sure you
into
get
this drop. You know what I'm
first.
saying? So
I have a funny story about bad decisions with loans.
Oh boy.
So during the 2018 bull market in crypto, I saw these like videos going around about taking out a Chinese bank loan for $100,000.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, so of course I did it. Super high interest. It was like, dude, it was like 15% interest like that I would have to. Yes, a month.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, so like super stupid. But I was a crypto diehard, and I thought I was like super smart with it. It ended up playing out in my favor, but I pretty much took out $100,000 from this super sketchy Chinese bank and put it all into Solana and its ecosystem. And I got in at Solana.
What price? Yeah.
Dude, $3. And I cashed out at $200. And then I
You
also
sold the top also?
shit.
Wow.
Yes.
That's crazy. Good
yeah,
stuff.
200 was like my number. And then I made more money off of the coins that like are like work on their ecosystem. So like
Radium and
yeah,
okay.
yeah, dude, yeah. So shout out Solana. I don't really trust that that coin anymore because of their like hacks and stuff. I wouldn't really.
Well, the whole FTX stuff.
Yeah. I wouldn't really advertise it. It seems kind of like a little pawn in the whole scheme of things. And I actually really want to talk about what I think crypto really is. I feel like that would be really interesting. But yeah, don't take out a crazy loan. Use leverage correctly. Is pretty much what I'm trying to say. But let's get into some tinfoil hat crypto stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, well, by the way, guys, we only have like 10, 15 minutes left, but yeah. Let's
Okay.
Okay.
I'll explain it super quick.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's think about Bitcoin when it was made, right? Like 2008, right? And obviously, like the people in charge, they're thinking super far ahead. So what happened in 2008, right? Banking crisis. Okay. Now this new digital currency comes into play. All right. Who's using it? Drug dealers, people that like want to be undercover. They market it as
At the start.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So like, they market it as like this black market thing. They can't track transactions.
That's how I got my fake IDs, by the way.
Exactly. Yeah. So, it's untraceable. Okay. Moving forward. Okay. Then 2016 and 17, it gets pumped. It's in the news. Now people have heard of it. Okay. So people have heard the name of it and they're like, whatever, they know a bunch of people made money. Okay. It falls back down, loses traction. Okay. Rips again. On the news again, people are talking about it, becomes more of a household thing. Then during the COVID rip,
Inflation hedge.
Exactly. Everyone's like, oh, okay, this is decentralized. I can get my money like out of the bank and like, whatever. All of that. You're seeing commercials for it. People are pretty much advertising it now as a safe investment. Do we know who the creator of Bitcoin is?
We do not. No.
How is that possible? Y'all heard of the digital footprint, right? How is that possible? How do we not know who made Bitcoin? Explain to me that, right? Like we have some super smart people
that is
on the
true,
internet, right? So I don't know. This is just my theory. I think Bitcoin was put into place for CBDCs to start coming out.
What's a CBDC?
So do you think you can want me to say it?
Yeah, you can go.
It's
ahead.
basically a central bank digital dollar.
Okay.
So it's basically, think of crypto, but it's not decentralized. So it's like Venmo, but for whatever reason, if the government was like, "Hey, Lucas, you can't buy this
They can't
item,"
track it.
or like
But they
taxes
can
time, they just take it right out of your
Yeah.
account.
So this is why it's an issue, and this is why I think Bitcoin was put into place, because people love crypto because it's decentralized, right? With CBDCs, crypto's no longer decentralized. I feel like Bitcoin was just put into place so people could get used to the digital currency, see it as an investment. I don't really see a super long term for future for crypto. And I love crypto. I wish it would work, and hopefully it does. I'm just thinking, like, realistically, why would the government let that happen? Why would the government let something
You think
be,
they're going to create their
be
own
decentralized?
cryptocurrency long term?
Yeah.
Interesting.
But doesn't Bitcoin and Ethereum directly compete with the central bank digital dollar, because
Maybe
that they
their-
can
maybe
control?
Maybe they want.
Who-
Maybe they
who-
want you to think that.
Who owns the most Bitcoin though?
That's true. I mean,
Come on.
Wait,
yeah.
who does?
All the people in charge,
I mean,
bro.
you don't really know. I
Facts.
mean, it's just like random wallets. Yeah.
Yeah, but but who's the market movers?
Yeah, the big wallets.
Exactly, the people that are in charge.
But here's one thing I will say though, is that I think that all the new kids from like middle school and high school right now, they care a lot less about stocks. My theory on crypto and why I actually think crypto will succeed is because a lot of people see it as a digital lottery. Okay, people are seeing SHIB. You put $100 in SHIB, it's now like $20 million. Like I had friends who literally put like $20 in, sold it at like 200, and it went to like millions of dollars. People see this and see it as a way. Because right now, for the modern man, if you wanted to kind of gamble, because a lot of people love gambling, it's an addiction, just like anything else. You have to fly to Vegas and go gamble. Now there's these online casinos like
gambling,
Stake
honestly.
and Rollbit that you can gamble with cryptocurrencies with. These altcoins are going $1,000 overnight. People are seeing this. Ethereum is building a whole like decentralized chain where you can borrow and lend without having a bank. Like right now, banks give 0.01% APR. Who's gonna hold their money in a bank right now because of that? Like.
Well, I mean, so I agree with Tyler actually. Right? I don't know anything about crypto, but from what I have heard, I think it's very I agree. How could they let this happen? How could they be okay with this happening?
Okay.
If they did not
Who owns
have
who owns the
It's
most
too-
who
it's too
who owns
big.
who owns the biggest supply of the U.S. dollar right now? You can't tell me, because it's not trackable. No one knows who owns the most amount of USD.
That's why it's low key like
Which
the same
is-
as like Bitcoin. Like no one. But I
That-
did.
that's why I don't think it's that
once-
different.
But once CBDCs are put into place, they know exactly how much you're making.
True.
They just take it out.
True.
Right? That's going to
True.
be our currency. And if we don't have, I feel like this is why crypto appeals to people, because they're like, I don't want people to track my stuff. But you can't, like, they're
It's not
going
about track necessarily.
We don't even know.
They just want to know, like,
Because
let's be
crypto
honest,
isn't
though.
really I mean, there are things like Tornado Cash, but like besides that, like everything is on chain. Like I can go right now, if you were to send me a payment, I can go through your wallet, see everything you own, see everyone you've ever sent money to, all this.
In crypto?
And not that many people know how to do that, but like it is more it's more transparent than the US dollar, because I can hand you $1,000 cash right now and no one's gonna ever know I gave you that.
Yeah,
That is true.
Something I'd like to put out there, and this is very hard for people to understand, but we don't really know anything about anything, okay? And I'm not a big conspiracy theorist, but the only reason that we believe, and first of all, I think the moon landing is real, just to say that, but the only reason that we believe the moon landing is real is because the people we trust tell us it is. The only reason that we know the Roman Empire existed is because there's evidence of it written down, right? The winners always fabricate everything. The winners are the ones that tell the story. And, we all think that Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are untraceable, or we have for a while, but we really don't know anything about it. And even I feel like the smartest people in crypto, the ones who know the most, just like science, just like space, just like Neil deGrasse Tyson, the ones who know the most realize that they know nothing.
Yeah,
and that's what's interesting to me about crypto.
For me, crypto, like, the idea behind it is so great, but the reason why I can't really see it playing out, like, long term, it's just too good to be true. That's why I don't see it. Like, yes, obviously, when it's ripping, make your money, right? I love crypto when it's making me money, and I love investing in good projects that have use cases and have great devs and teams behind them. Just like realistically, I don't really think I could see it being like extremely long term without there being serious regulations and rules behind it, which right now there isn't much.
There isn't much. I mean, so first off, I do think that 99% of cryptos are going to go to zero in the next 10 years.
Okay.
100%. That is without a doubt. Now, that doesn't mean that there's not 100 times being made before that. As you said with Solana, if you were to sell us, but in terms of regulations, yeah, I mean, the U.S. isn't a fan of Bitcoin. I don't think the Fed made Bitcoin. I don't think Bitcoin is against the U.S. dollar. They're competing. The U.S. dollar is right now the global money. You know what I'm saying? I think that personally, even if the U.S. were to ban crypto, other nations such as China and stuff are now at a more strategic position to where if they were, because actually China this June in Singapore, you are now legally allowed to be able to buy crypto in China, which until then it was illegal, basically. It was a gray area, And actually Coinbase right now is actually talking to the SEC, and they have to give them an answer in the next few months about what is considered a security in crypto, which is a really big thing. So yeah, I think that the decisions of these are going to be really big. And I'm not like if Bitcoin goes $100,000, I'm gonna sell and short it all. You know what I'm saying? But like at the end of the day, I do think that, I mean, I'm not gonna give financial advice. Never mind.
I mean, what I'm saying is, and because I agree with both you guys, like there is still probably money to be made. It'll probably have another bull run. But what I'm saying is, like, I hear people all the time saying this will happen, and this, you know what I mean? Nobody knows.
True.
Yeah.
Like,
We're just pawns in the game.
You know what I mean? Just like everybody that was saying NFTs are the future. I saw that shit was a fucking scam.
It was a top signal. That's what it was.
That shit was a scam the second it started. Everyone's buying
Signed
Gary
to
V's
sell,
fucking
bro.
scam.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's buying Gary V's fucking scam NFT, and he's like, "This is the future, man." And I'm just like, "Bro, come on, bro. Who bought?" I know a lot of people that flipped them and made a lot of money, but like to think that was where the future was going, it was a pump and dump. Come on.
Yeah. No, that's something about trading. It's like you can't say, I know for certain this is where the market's going to go, because the market isn't going to listen to you. It's going to do what it wants to do. So the only thing that you can do is just adapt to it. So
react.
Yeah, exactly. So, if crypto does end up playing out long term, perfect. I hold crypto.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'll make hella
Yeah.
bread, but also if it starts flipping and starts, going down, cool. I'll short it, just adapt to what the market's giving you. Don't try and force your bias and force your opinion on something that won't change because of it,
Yeah.
Word. Well, honestly, dude, we talked about a lot of good stuff. This was, quite a long podcast. I don't even think we need to. Sometimes we do cuts and stuff. If we mess up, no one messed up or anything. It was a great run. I'm not sure how long this has been. I'm assuming it's been about like an hour 20, hour 30. But yeah, I think this is a great time to wrap it up. We talked about a lot of good stuff.
Ooh, Lucas, real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
I want to start this segment with all like future guests we do. I want our guests to give one last final piece of advice,
like that.
life advice to people watching, and I think that I think a lot of people would like to hear that. So.
Okay. This is something that I tell pretty much anybody that says like, "Hey, you're doing so well. What can I do to be like you?" And it's as simple as finding something that you enjoy and monetizing it. That is how you will find the most success in life, and that is how you will find the most happiness in life. Because if you hate what you're doing, you're going to hate your life, because that's what you're doing, right? So find something that you enjoy, and believe it or not, monetizing your hobbies, monetizing what you enjoy, it's really easy. You just got to sit down and think about it for a little bit. So that's what I would suggest you to do.
Hell yeah, I think that's a great fucking
Great
answer.
advice,
I agree
yeah.
100%. And I think most successful people would agree. I know very few people that are really successful that don't like what they do. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's a great way to end it. I think that's a great way to wrap it up. Thank you again, Tyler, for coming on.
I appreciate you coming
Yeah,
on.
no,
This is
I
awesome.
appreciate you guys
He
for
literally
having
just
me.
he hit me up out of the blue, and he's like, "Yo, can I come on the podcast?" I was like, "Yeah, when do you want to come on?" He's like, "I'll fly out there in a couple days." I was like, "All right, bet, perfect." And so yeah, it was very last minute, very on the spot. But I think this is our best episode yet. So thank you guys so much for
Number
watching.
2.
But, yeah, right. But once again, if you guys like this, you enjoyed it, subscribe, give us a like, and if you have any questions or topics or anything you want to bring up that you want us to talk about on future episodes, make sure to comment below, and we'll try and read through all those and get to all of them. But yeah, once again, thank you guys so much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, bro.
Awesome.
Peace.